Hey everyone, I just got off the line with American folk Americana group, the Wildwoods Band. We talked about their hometown of Lincoln, Nebraska, songwriting, TikTok popularity, managing content, most out-of-body musical experience, new holiday single Christmas Time is Here, their favorite eatery, and more. So without further ado, here's my conversation with the Wildwoods. The Wildwoods, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us, Jigme.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you doing?
Really good, man. Just wrapped up watching the FIFA World Cup final, and what a way to cap off the day. Like it's just a mesmerizing experience to say the least.
Oh yeah, of
Um,
course.
yeah, so I mean, before we started this interview, it was cool that I saw Chloe going for a coffee, or was it a tea?
It's coffee.
Ah, see, I like that because I was interviewing the Petersons man from Branson, Missouri. And they had this live stream going and they always have this coffee and just have this morning conversation with YouTubers, which is really cool. I love when people do that, when it's a sit down interview, just relaxed, like just
Oh yeah.
chill, it's the best thing ever.
I think
Yeah.
we all I think we all have coffees
Yeah.
here for this, so we're
Any go-to drinks?
oh, just coffee with a little bit of almond milk, I think.
Yeah, just like a splash.
That's
Or coconut milk.
Yeah, if they got
oh.
coconut milk, I'll have to go a triple shot of espresso. If there's like a splash of coconut milk, if I'm feeling dangerous.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so the first question I had for you guys was obviously you're from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yep.
Tell me about your hometown.
Oh, Lincoln's not a huge city. But it's a very um it is, like I said, not a huge city, but it's a smaller city, but it's still, got a great music community, just got a great community in general in terms of arts and culture and whatnot. Lots of live music happening every night of the week. Yeah, it's been a great, we've all lived here our entire lives. Um, it's just been a great place to grow up.
There's always lists that are published online where it's like the best places to like raise a family or like the happiest places to live. And Lincoln always seems to be around like the top of those lists. It seems to be a nice like hybrid of, like Noah said, not being too big, but there's still a lot of community and a lot of stuff going on. Like our trails for biking and walking is like a huge part of the community here that we've invested a lot into, and like Noah said too, a great music scene as well.
Yeah, we've thought about relocating somewhere else, but every time we get interested in a location and then look up like, rent prices or just kind of general cost of living expenses, it always just kind of makes us want to stay here in Lincoln just because cost of living is very cheap here in Lincoln, and gives us, allows us to have the space we need to do what we love here. But
Yeah, I think for all of us, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but we've all been immersed in the music community since we were like in middle school going into high school. So we've just been really familiar with it and comfortable with it for a long time. And I don't think we've realized it is a really tight knit and supportive community, like not just the music community, but overall, just everyone here in Lincoln. And I don't think we realized just how small it was until we started touring and playing in other cities. But it is the one city out of anywhere that we've been to yet that just, it's the only place that I can think of as home, the one place that I just want to go back to. And I don't know, I feel comfortable here and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And here where well, it's not a small town. I live in Toronto, Canada.
hmm.
Um, and so it's a really cool, diverse area. It's a diverse city here, and there's almost everything and anything here to do. But it's really cool. I was doing some research on different musicians and seeing who's out there and who's making at least a splash, putting their foot in front of the other and trying to make it somewhere. And it's really cool to see that there are people who are local. There are people who are still doing things that are interesting,
Oh yeah,
even though people don't know them, you know.
absolutely, yeah.
And something interesting was obviously TikTok is such a hectic place because now people are more tend to go to that algorithm, and so people are finding out that there's ways to get more popular on TikTok rather than on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, because Facebook is now like, well, nobody really goes to Facebook anymore. Twitter's like, I don't know. But TikTok for me is like I post clips from interviews I do onto TikTok, and that's how I kind of like generate the reach of audiences.
Fantastic.
Even though I want to put it on like YouTube, per se, right? Like it's such a hard thing to understand. Um, so can we talk about your passion for music? Because I think it's such an interesting perspective. Because you guys remind me of Maggie Rogers.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Very
Yeah,
good.
Maggie Rogers, because I listened to one of her interviews with Pharrell. I think Pharrell was listening to her demo of Alaska, and she talked about her inspirations of being in the environment and feeling out the nature of her music. And then I was doing some research on your biography, and it talks about you guys are like inspired by nature and the love for the environment and making sure that you're comfortable with those times of taste of music. Is that really an accurate picture?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. The mostly the reason why we put that in our bio is because I think a lot of our original music is inspired by the areas that we're surrounded by or the people that we meet when we're on the road. And we tend to find ourselves creating that new music and just being inspired always when we're traveling to new places and just having these new experiences. When we're at home for a while, although we love Nebraska and we love where we're from, sometimes it's easy just to get stuck in the same cycle of doing the same thing here every day because this is where we're comfortable. We don't have to be like hustling every day to get to the next gig. So there's not as many experiences happening while we're here at home.
Yeah.
So I think that traveling aspect, the seeing the new places and meeting new people, is what really inspires the music that we create.
I have a big notes folder on my phone, and I find that I'm just like constantly filling it up with like little lyric ideas while we're touring. Like Chloe said, just because we're meeting so many people and going to so many new places that there's just, you know, constantly new things popping into my head that I'm either seeing or hearing from other people. But yeah, being here, there's not much more of that because we're just kind of stuck in here a lot of the time.
Yeah. But I will say, even though our music is inspired by the places that we visit and the people that we meet, I think there still is like a sense of Nebraska and a sense of home that's tied into each one of our songs. You can
Oh
just
yeah.
kind of hear it. I don't know how to describe it. It just sounds kind of like Heartland-esque type of music, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. And Noah, you kind of remind me of Charlie Puth a bit because
Hey.
because you're just talking about keeping notes and those things and
Yeah.
basically wanting to evolve on different things by the minute. It's like it's such an interesting thing, even though I'm like listening to different interviews with artists and interviews with Shawn Mendes, and something that he said was that he was asked the question, when you put out an album, do you listen to it? Personally, do you personally listen to it? And he says, I try to only listen to it once every 4 months, because why, if I keep listening to it every day, then I'm always thinking that I need to fix this, I need to fix that.
Mm,
I have a new song coming out. I want to work on new music, even though he's already put an album out there, right?
yeah.
But it's always that hustle and the grind of putting things out. And when you get so addicted to it, it's like it's a pattern. It's a culture that you build into yourself. Do you feel like when you put like music and you work on different things, you put it out to the world, and then you want to ask yourself, do I want to keep putting on new things after new things after new things?
Yeah, well, we're um
I feel like it's a never ending cycle. Like, we're never with the thought, like, oh, this is it. This is going to be like the epitome of what we're doing. We're always just, even like, we're releasing a new album here in February, but already we're talking about recording the next album that we want to put out. It's just constantly like, that's just what we love to do, I think.
yeah, it's kind of like cutting grass, you know. I guess
Yeah.
the grass keeps growing because we just love writing and performing music, so we'll just keep on doing that because we love, you know, we don't feel the need to prove anything to anybody. We just do because it's something that we just find great joy in doing. And if we're, you know, creating these songs anyway, and we just, you know, want to record them and get them out there and hope people enjoy them.
Yeah, totally, for sure. And What would you say? I've asked this to one contestant from The Voice that I had on recently, and she really liked this question, and I thought to keep it and ask you it because I thought it would be interesting. Um, what would you say would be the most powerful out of body experience you've had in music?
Mm,
Whoa.
You,
interesting.
you go first, Andy. I got to think about this for a second. Out of body.
My answer is kind of sad, but recently had a family member pass away, and I had written a song kind of for her before she had passed, and I kind of wrote it as like a I don't know, at least from my songwriting, it's normally a very painstaking process where it feels like I'm kind of pulling teeth sometimes, but in this instance, it kind of all just kind of like flowed out, and it was very kind of stream of conscious, and I finished it very quickly, and it was kind of something that was kind of like I never planned to release, and it was kind of like for me, it's probably the healing process. But then I showed my mom, and she's like, "Well, you have to play it, you know, for the rest of the family." And then they asked me to play it at the funeral, and playing it there that morning was definitely a uh, a surreal experience that I hadn't really felt with music up to that point.
Yeah, we had a going away party before our last tour, and I had just had a bunch of friends and family members over, and Andy played it for everyone, and I think everybody could just feel the, you know.
Yeah, you
Just
didn't even have
feel-
to say
feel
what
the
it was
power from
about. You just sang it, and we were like, "Whoa."
Yeah, gosh, good one. What about you, Chloe? What's your
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, for me, it's probably not as much singing our own music or even like singing the covers that we create, more as listening to music from other artists that I love. And most of the music that I have been turned on to, the quality music that I've fallen in love with, Noah has showed me. And I just remember the first time you showed me, like I had heard music from Gillian Welch, but I had never like been like, oh, that's who that is. This is Gillian Welch singing this. I just would hear the song and say, oh, I really like that. But the first time you showed me one of her albums, I just remember sitting there and being like, oh my gosh, wow. Like
wow?
this music is so timeless. Like it sounds like it's been around for forever. Like I can't believe that this person wrote this just like, I don't know, like in the 2000s. And I don't know. I just remember thinking I really want to create music like that people can just feel so moved by in their own special way.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of say a similar experience, just because we love music, but we also love live music and going to see concerts. And I know we are a folk group, but Radiohead has like been my favorite band since I was like in 6th or 7th grade, and we got to see them in 2016, when we were 18, and gosh, I think just having been such a huge fan for so long, and then getting to see them perform just had to have just been the most surreal experience, just seeing these people that just kind of were characters in my mind, not really thinking of them as real people, but more of just kind of these incredibly talented entities that are just recording my some of the best music I've ever heard. So yeah, I guess just seeing them, and I was just in awe the entire time. It's hard to explain how I felt, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's such an interesting point you make there. And all three of you have made really interesting points where like you kind of latch onto these people that are giving you this taste of music that has like been in the 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s. Like I think for me, one of the interesting people that I've seen on TikTok or on YouTube, Sierra Farrell.
Oh yeah, she's one of our favorite.
Just a remarkable voice for a person so young.
Absolutely.
And then I was on TikTok recently and I saw someone named Stella Catherine Cole. And she does this like really cool like jazz. How do I describe her? She's more like a jazz Lady Gaga.
Oh wow.
Interesting. Wow.
Like she has the tone of a jazz Lady Gaga type voice.
Okay.
But she does this all these holiday songs recently. And she sounds like she's from the 50s or 60s. And I
Oh,
was
that's
saying that
great.
I can hear like a vinyl record for her voice, and I would not know who that artist was. I would probably think it's like one of those, like, those cafe type music where they just put like random like jazz Nat King Cole music
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
in like study rooms. That's the type of music I can picture her doing.
fantastic.
And for you guys just released a new single called
Mhm.
Christmas Time Is Here. Walk me through that song.
Yeah, I guess it's um, the classic song from the Peanuts Christmas movie from the '60s. Um, and yeah, we just kind of we wanted to record and arrange and release a Christmas song this year, but we were trying to we were sifting through all the classics, trying to decide which one we wanted to do. And there's just something about that song that has always, just at least for me, just given me, you know I don't know, just such a warm feeling. I don't know if it has to do with
like nostalgic.
yeah,
Just,
and
I don't know.
most Christmas songs do, in regards to the classics, but that one especially. I don't know if it was because of growing up with Peanuts, but we chose that one, and then arranging the song turned out to be a bit more of a difficult experience than we thought, just because of it has kind of a
It's more complex than it sounds, like the chord structures.
yeah, it's
and
got a wild chord progression, really really beautiful, interesting progression, but just kind of arranging harmonies to fit around those chords and the accidentals that happen throughout the music, and the key changes. But it was a great learning experience, and we had a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, we just recorded it and just, I guess, just put it out there.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Any classics for you guys for Christmas artist? Any classics favorites of yours?
Oh, Vince Giraldi for sure is, his he wrote Christmas Time Is Here, but his whole catalog of Christmas music that he arranged and recorded for the Peanuts movies definitely kind of lives on my Spotify during Christmas time.
Yeah.
Um,
My favorite is White Christmas, the Bing Crosby version.
mm,
It's just, I don't know if it's because when I was little, my grandpa would always make me play that song on the violin because that was his favorite, and it just like it's been my favorite ever since.
The two I've been playing the most aren't necessarily classics. I don't know if you know the band Wolfpack, but their keyboard player Woody Goss, he put together an album of where they covered a bunch of the band's tunes, Wolfpack tunes, but they did it in a style that's very similar to like the Peanuts Christmas movie arrangements, and it's just beautiful.
Man, I forgot about that this year.
Yeah,
I gotta
oh,
pull,
it's
I gotta
fantastic.
pull that back up.
Or the Bob Dylan Christmas album, which I love Bob Dylan. As he got older, his voice got a little gruff. I don't know from too many cigarettes or yelling or what. But he covers just classic Christmas songs, and it's kind of hilarious because with his gruff voice, oh, here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, and
It's definitely
yeah,
it's definitely a good stunner to put on at a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And when he starts singing, people are like, what's going on here? What's happening?
Do you see what I see?
I hope he does. I hope he doesn't see this episode, because we're huge Bob Dylan
Yeah.
fans.
Love you, Bob.
No, I love Bob Dylan's music, to be honest. Like I really do. And Chloe, that's interesting you mentioned Bing Crosby. I do have a Bing Crosby vinyl here.
Oh, nice.
And I listen to like more of the, I think sometimes I'll listen to 40s music, like 40s, 50s music. I listen to I think it was Gene Autry. I think there's a lot of Gene Kelly, Singing in the Rain. Um I think for me the favorite was Dean Martin.
Oh yeah.
Dean Martin, Let It Snow, and I think it was just a couple of days ago I just interviewed his daughter. Um
Oh, cool.
yeah. And then I woke up this morning and I knew I had an interview with you guys. And I woke up this morning, I checked my TikTok because I posted a clip of her talking about something specific about what her dad was like as a person. Woke up this morning and I checked my phone and I saw 94 notifications on my TikTok inbox. And long behold, I'm like, what is this about? It's probably just people who are like posting stuff. And then I saw that like 500 plus people have liked this clip and
Whoa,
Wow.
nice.
20,000 views on the clip. And I've never gotten that for any clip that I've ever posted on
Very
TikTok.
Whoa,
good.
that's
Very
awesome.
good. Yeah.
And so
We-
as we're talking about TikTok, when did you guys find out that you got popular on that page?
Oh,
So it was kind of like just all like randomly one day, which from stories from friends that this has happened to, I always hear it's just like one day it just like shoots up, you get a lot of views on something. But when did we start our TikTok page?
A month and a half ago, 2 months.
Well, we had it
Oh,
before
that's right.
that.
That's right. Yeah.
well, we've been playing together for 10 years now, since 2012. And from then, pretty much up until September of this year, we were taking the performing and the writing and the recording seriously, but we weren't really getting with the modern times, and we decided, like, all right, we're starting now, we're going to focus as hard as we can on social media and just see what happens. And so we started.
We would just post every once in a while before that. But
Hmm.
then when we came home from our last tour, we really started to try to post like in the beginning, like at least once a day or at least like 3 or 4 times a week just to see how it would do. And then the first 2 videos that we posted on TikTok where it was the 3 of us singing together, they got a lot of views. And then just after that, it just started growing and growing.
Yeah, the one I think that really set it off, we did a cover of a Home by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, and we posted it to TikTok and Instagram. And before we posted this, we were very ecstatic about the traction that we were gaining on both Instagram and TikTok, because we had, we were getting like 1,000 likes on things, which at the time we were incredibly excited about, because that's never something that's
We were used to getting like 25 likes on things.
yeah. And then we posted that video of Home by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, and I woke up and I checked TikTok, and it had like, gosh, I think like 20 or 30,000 likes. And then I went to Instagram, and we had like jumped up to like 100,000 followers from, I think back in October we had
our followers on Instagram shot up in like the span of one night. It was on Halloween we posted the video, I think, and then like it just kept growing and growing. I don't even remember.
Before then I think we had like 2,500 followers or something on Instagram, and it's been quite wild. And we haven't toured or played out of state much since we really started taking our social media seriously. And we found that a lot more people are coming from out of state to come to our shows here in Lincoln, which there was 2 groups of people at our show last night that had driven 3 hours, which I felt kind of bad, because I was like, well, we're planning on tour next year. Hopefully, don't have to drive this far. But gosh, it's just crazy to see. It's a weird feeling, because I'm like, why on earth would you drive 3 hours to see us play? I don't know, in this busy coffee shop. But
I think it's a weird feeling because we've been touring for a long time, and we have good shows on the road, but we also have bad shows too, where we're playing to not very many people, and we're just kind of used to the fluctuation. And will this be a good night? I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Maybe the next one will be a good night. So our whole goal with growing our social media was just to get our music further out there, so that hopefully when we start touring again, we can sell more tickets on the road in these other markets where we're not used to playing all the time. And so far it seems to be working, because I mean, people are coming to Lincoln to see us from out of state. So hopefully this summer or this spring when we start touring, it'll be even better.
that's the hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's cool. Like, I think that's the important thing with people who are just coming into the game of music. Like you're gonna experience, a lot of low points. You're gonna, like, it's bound to happen, right? But I would probably suspect that when you found out that you got popular on TikTok, was it like the deer in headlights type face that came on for you guys, and you guys were blown away and didn't know what was happening?
For sure, it was
Yes,
kind of a
we were scrambling because we were like getting a lot of messages and just emails just from everybody all over the place, places wanting to book us or just people like asking us to come play in their state or their town. And we've finally got a routine down where we're able to handle all this stuff, but
yeah, because we don't have a booking agent or a manager or anything. We're just kind of all three of us just kind of putting our heads together to try to make the whole operation work.
make it work until we find someone that can help us manage all of it.
No, absolutely. But that's the really great thing about like people who are just making music, or people who are just coming up in the music scene, like you're not gonna have a booking agent at first. You're gonna have to scrape your way through, right? Like it's not gonna be easy. It's definitely not. I've
Exactly.
experienced that for sure. And I still experience that. I still have people who tell me no, even though, like for instance, people who reach out to people say, well, you're too young to be to be a host of a show. Well, you're too young to reach out to people who are famous in Hollywood. Like who are you? We don't know you. You don't have any track record, whatever. But I still took the urge and I said, whatever.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean what does my age matter?
exactly. Yeah.
Right. And so I reached out to some like really big people. I'm talking about Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I'm talking about like all these big celebrities. And I said that I'm interested, right? But they're going to say no. I knew it, but I wasn't expecting that. I just went in just saying I'm being optimistic, just putting my
Yeah.
foot forward, just offering it an opportunity.
You never
Um,
know.
and so now we build these connections with people, right? Like now in 9 years' time, if I get popular on TikTok and popular on my show, then people are going to start reaching on and understanding that, well, this guy was actually from the start was reaching out to us and was interested. And now here he is grinding it out and trying to put out content every single day. Um,
Yeah.
and for
And I
you
think
guys, is it hard to deal with the load of putting out content day by day?
Um, yeah, we try we have we've gotten kind of a good schedule down of how to balance our days between booking stuff, practicing. We practice every day, and then also creating and working on making content. Um, and I feel like the content can take a lot longer than we think it will, just because we're not copying anybody's arrangements. We're not, we're trying to be as original with these songs we're covering as possible. And so just arranging the harmonies, arranging the instrumental parts, and then as well as when we take the video of the song, it's never the first take. Most of the time it's like the 20th or 30th take of the video that we're actually posting, just because it takes a little bit to really work on. We try to work as much on blending our voices as much as possible and trying to figure out ways to get a good balance of everything. And
Yeah, I think it can feel like a lot because we were talking about this the other day before we started like really putting an effort on our social media. We were just basically real-time musicians, like doing the gigs in person, and all the while we were going to school at the same time and teaching music lessons. But now we kind of have we're not in school anymore, but we still have everything else we have to manage, like playing gigs in real life, practicing so that we sound good at our gigs, and then also trying to manage putting out content on social media. So it's a lot to manage, I think, because we are trying to make music full time. Like none of us have any other jobs. We're just doing music all day, every day. And sometimes it can feel discouraging because like from 8 to 4 o'clock every day, we're working on stuff that we basically don't get paid for. Like we're answering emails, we're booking gigs, we're doing all of that like business type work,
yeah,
practicing, trying to put out content, and hoping that someday it will pay off in the end and we will be able to make money and live.
Because then after that we're going to teach lessons,
Yeah.
and then sometimes we try to keep it just to the morning, afternoon, but then sometimes we're still meeting up in the evening to finish some things. So it can sometimes, I feel like the perception is like, I want to be a musician, I don't want to work a 9 to 5, I just want to like play. But like you were saying before, when we're kind of doing all this stuff ourselves, it kind of is a 9 to 5 in a sense, but I'd rather be doing that, for ourselves and doing it towards something that we're passionate about rather than somewhere else.
Well, and most of the time it's Andy. We're at mine and Chloe's house right now, but Andy gets here at like 8 a.m. and a lot of times we're still doing things until like 11 p.m. or midnight. So we're putting in these really long days pretty much every day.
Yeah,
Which
we like pretty much have no personal life at the moment.
but we kind of just have the hope that it'll be worth it, just because we love
Yeah.
making music, and we're really, really happy that people have enjoyed what we've been putting out there. And it's just been a roller coaster, but not one with a bunch of loops, more of just one that's flat, that just kind of drives us along the track while still having fun.
Absolutely. And Andy, a really good point about being early and being on time. I think it's so important. Like for me, I think when I was in college, I was studying radio broadcasting, and so I had classes at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I had to leave here by 6 o'clock out the door, early in the morning, and I get there at the college an hour early. I get there at 7 o'clock sharp, right? And so that punctuation is always important. And were you going to say something?
Well, we say 8 o'clock, and I think we say 8 with the idea of like, all right, Andy will get here around 8:30, 8:45 maybe on a bad day. On a really bad day, maybe 10 or 11.
No, it's been,
But we try. I'm getting better.
it's
All of
been
us are
good.
getting better.
Oh yeah.
We're all I think it's hard when we're working on stuff for so late every day, and then we try to get up and do the same thing the next day. We're not always on time, but we're working on it.
We're all very sporadic individuals, and I
Yes.
think ever since we left college, not having somebody tell us what to do, or not having a schedule, was difficult at first to kind of figure out how to the best way to manage our time, because even though we may have still been working on stuff all day long, we were not getting as much done as we could. But we've kind of I'll manage these two, Chloe will manage me, and Andy will manage the two of us. We've just kind of become each other's bosses. And
Yeah, it's like I'll have an emotional breakdown, and the two of them will have to calm me down and say everything's gonna be okay, and then we start over.
yeah.
Yeah. So as we're wrapping up with 4 minutes left of this meeting time, I want to ask you last question, which is, I ask this to everybody, and I want to know your thoughts on this. Give me your favorite eateries in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Favorite what?
Eateries.
Favorite eateries.
Oh, eateries. Okay.
Ooh.
Pepe's Bistro.
Pepe's Bistro. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was
He's
just
the
gonna say the same
best.
thing.
It's vegetarian food. Some of it's vegan, some of it's not. He makes it all from local ingredients, and on top of just making just some of the most like spectacular tasting, but also kind of creative and original dishes that he makes.
Oh yeah.
He also does just so much for the community
Oh yeah.
as well.
He does, like, a lot of times one day a week he'll just be giving out all of his food for free. He'll do
Yeah.
like free burrito Mondays. Like Andy said, does such great work for the community, and
Yeah, he's an angel.
really knows how to bring people together.
Yeah.
It's just great to see. So if you ever come to Lincoln, stop in Pepe's for some food.
Yeah.
Well, that's great to hear, and but our time together is sadly up. But thank you for chatting with me today. I had a great time. To the
Yeah,
listeners who
thank
made it
you.
this far to the episode, thanks so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with the folk Americana band, the Wildwoods. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and also on TikTok. For more info, visit thewildwoodsband.com. You can follow me on Instagram, all on social media, on TikTok as well. For also more info, you can go on my YouTube channel as well to see all of my other interviews I've done. Lastly, you can find my show on all podcast streaming platforms. I've been your host, Jigme Kelsang. Thanks for tuning into the show.